a pool of water on the road far away. Huh? And then when we actually get to that place, we find there's actually no water. It's just an optical illusion. So in this world, it's the same thing as there. We think that there is enjoyment. We think that there's pleasure. We think that there's fulfillment and so many other things. But these are just like that illusory lake in the desert. When we actually get there, we find out, oh, it's not so great after all. Huh? We were talking the other day about pop stars and people like that, you know, movie stars and people who are very famous, very beautiful, very wealthy, and how they are also very disturbed. Huh? You see all these big stars, they all have some really serious problems. A lot of times they'll OD on drugs and, you know, or get very strange, you know. Why? Aren't they happy because they're famous and they're wealthy and they're beautiful and they're talented and all that? No. No, they're not happy. And this is one of the worst things that can happen to you, is that, let's say your whole life you want to be wealthy. And then finally, like, you win the lottery and you get $10 million, what usually happens? The person destroys themselves. They get strung out or they get cheated out of all their money and they wind up in a worse situation than before they were wealthy. So this is the material world. We think that if I have a lot of money, if I had a lot of fame, if I was very beautiful or this or that, then I would be happy. But if we actually get those things, we find out, oh, they actually just bring more problems. It's better to remain unknown and simply, you know, just have enough for the necessities of life, not have too much money, not have too much of anything. Because with those things comes many problems. But this is the truth about the illusory energy. You ask anybody. I had one friend of mine was very, very beautiful, physically beautiful. And she was complaining to me what a burden it was. That everywhere she went, some guy was chasing her, you know. She never could have any peace because everybody that wanted to be a friend with her wanted to be a friend only because she was very beautiful. And after a while, she was like, "Oh, this beauty is a curse. It's not." You know, she felt like I'm a freak of nature, just by some freak of genetics. You know, some accident of inheritance. I have this beautiful body, and now because of this, I have so much trouble. I wish I was just ordinary looking. So just see, this material world is a world of illusion. What you think is desirable, what you think is good, is actually not good. What you think will finish all your troubles actually would be just the beginning of your troubles. The real solution to the troubles of life is to become spiritually enlightened. Then there's no more troubles. Does somebody have a question? Go pass the mic.
There's a question from Dawn. So at first we are fragmented in consciousness, and by chanting Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, we integrate. So, is it that the real offense comes if, after integrating, we start to once more return to material ways?
Well, that's one kind of offense. Yeah, that would be an offense against the holy name. But the broader offense is that we maintain material attachments even in spite of being engaged in devotional service. See? I mean, why does a person fall down from devotional service, even after doing so many mantras or so much different devotional activities or reading so many scriptures or whatever? Why do they again return to material things? It's because they're cultivating an attachment. They're cultivating a desire for those material things. And this is the root cause of the fall down. You see, when we attain the spiritual platform, we should leave behind all of those material designations, all those material desires. That's the real cure for the disease of material suffering. You know, every time someone falls down from spiritual life, they suffer. They suffer on account of separation from Krishna. Krishna is our real beloved. Krishna is our real friend. Krishna is the real source of happiness. That's what Krishna means. The ocean of happiness. Krishna, the source of all enjoyment, the reservoir of pleasure. So when we're separated from Krishna, we suffer from that separation. And because we're suffering, then we try to find some replacement. And so we go searching in this material world for something or someone that can replace Krishna. The problem is, there's nobody like Krishna. Nobody can replace Krishna. Krishna is unique among all beings. Nityo nityanam, chaitanash chaitananam. He's the only one like that. He's the only one who can supply all of our needs, all of our necessities. The perfect love that we're looking for, you know? Soulmate or whatever, you know? There ain't no soulmate in this material world. Just by rubbing bodies together, you're not going to get the satisfaction that you're looking for. The satisfaction you're looking for comes from inside, from being related to Krishna, by loving Krishna, by offering all of our affection and our faith and love to Krishna. Then Krishna reciprocates that love from within, and we feel so satisfied we don't feel any urge for any external kind of enjoyment. You see? That's the secret. And that's how we can remain in spiritual life without falling down.
Question from Marino. These anarthas, which are due to misunderstanding, are cleansed by studying and right understanding, not by chanting?
Well, both are necessary. You see, we can chant, but what does the chanting mean? You see, the whole Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, all 12 cantos, is simply a description of the meaning of the name Krishna. See? Krishna is such a deep concept. The meaning of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is so profound that to understand the meaning of this one word, we have to go through so many volumes and volumes of books to study. You know, we've talked about many times how misunderstood terms produce unconsciousness. This is another very rarely understood fact, and certainly not ever covered by the people who claim to be religious leaders and like that. But every time they say God, every time they say the Lord, every time they say Krishna or Rama or any of the names of God, they're causing people to have a misunderstood term phenomenon because they don't ever explain the meaning of what they're saying. Well, what is the meaning of God? What is the meaning of Lord? What is the meaning of Supreme Personality of Godhead, Bhagavan or Vasudeva, or any of these words that describe the Supreme Soul, Paramatma, or Vishnu, or any of these words? What is the meaning of those words? See? They never explained that. And so every time they use these words, Jehovah, Allah, or any of the words that signify the Supreme, people go into a state of unconsciousness because they are getting a misunderstood term. See? A misunderstood term means a term that you have no definition for, or an incorrect definition for. For example, if you look in a dictionary, what is the definition of God? They say something like the creator and controller of the material world. In other words, they define God in relation to the material world. But what's the meaning of God if God is only involved with the material world? How can God be spiritual if his only meaning is that he is in some relation with this material world? That would mean that God is material too. you see. They don't ever use the word spiritual. I've never seen in any dictionary the word spiritual used in connection with the definition of the word God. But this is incorrect. If God is not spiritual, if God is not transcendental, if God is not beyond this material world, how could he create it? How could he control it? Huh? If God is not super, a superpower beyond materiality, how could he create or control? How could he design? How could he come up with the, especially the living entities? See, only God can create life. That means God has to be of a fundamentally different character than the world. And that character is spiritual or transcendental. But because people don't understand this, they